The 2026 timeline jump is upon us. The wind-up of the 2025 timeline is happening right now. And we're in this weird place in between the two timelines, a gap between two realities. And it's going to feel to you like you're in no man's land. And it's going to feel to you like there's this weird, misty, foggy, hazy in-between that you can't make sense of. And it's going to be very tempting in that in-between place to want to run away, to hide, and really to your own detriment to distract yourself. So we're going to talk about how to navigate the in-between. But why is there an in-between? Why is there a new timeline? Let's start at the beginning. 2012 is the beginning of the story. Because it was in 2012 that the new directive came in, and the directive was ascension is on the cards. Ascension is humanity's next step. Whether one person ascended or whether we all ascended wasn't then known, but it was then possible. And that was because of massive galactic intervention. The pre-2012 experience was 1 year just melted into the next. It was like this bleed through of 1 year into another, into another. There was no massive timeline jumps. And the reason why is because conscious evolution wasn't happening. It wasn't called for. It wasn't possible because we were living very much under the tight, rigid structure of the false matrix, where growth certainly did not happen. In fact, the opposite of growth happened. Stagnancy happened. Now, the 2025 timeline is ending, and it's ending rapidly, and it's part of a succession of timelines that began in 2012. And each one, think of it kind of like a rung in a ladder, each one paced a little bit further. So the jump gets a little bit bigger, and that's just a metaphorical way of visualizing the fact that every year is bringing to us not just a new frequency, but a higher frequency. And there's two reasons why. The first is because the universe is clever, because the universe knows what happens on reason number two, and that is when humanity collectively goes into a mindset, which we do every January. The collective mindset is, hey, it's a new beginning. So if ever there was a time that universally a new frequency was going to be ushered in, yeah, January is it. But there's this massive gap in frequency. So imagine that the rungs of the ladder paced out a little bit further every year, the frequency jump a little bit bigger every year. So from a world pre-2012 where 1 year was the same as the next, it was just called something else, to a place where we're shifting realms. And the head hasn't yet caught up, which is fine. It's not meant to. This is an energetic experience, but at the energetic level, what you will go through is, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I'm able, capable. I don't know if there's anything to jump into because it feels kind of like there's nothing there. And if you do feel something, it's going to feel that misty, weird, kind of nothing makes sense. That place that you want to run away from. That place that you want to distract yourself from. Because essentially those are the two choices that we have right now. It's not even go forward, it's fly forward, or it's limbo, which is like an unplug. And it's a very unhealthy unplug. I'm not talking about unplug and go rest. I'm talking about disconnect, disengage, go offline. And some people have been offline for all of their lives and we call them unconscious, or we say that they're sleeping. But there's going to be a lot of people who are front runners, who are leaders of the timeline, attempting to do the same thing, which is to go offline. And that's not going to serve anybody right now. That's going to be the most detrimental thing that you can do. So this video, save it, because you might need to watch it again somewhere over the next couple of months. And you might need to send it to a friend. While I'm on that thought, please also put a like on the video, and you're welcome to pop me a comment, and I'd love to read it. This is just a way of making sure that these videos reach who they're intended for. The timeline leaders They hold a frequency, and believe it or not, the algorithm finds them. It just does. Many of you are here without ever having somebody outside of you introduce me to you. You just were introduced through the algorithm. So your likes and comments really do go a long way. Back to the timeline. Why is the 2025 timeline ending so abruptly? Because it is. And we were navigating 2025 as if we had our whole lives to complete the 2025 assignment, which was a circular assignment. It was completion of all loose ends. And it was a very difficult timeline because it was so tedious. There wasn't forward movement and there wasn't momentum either. We would have felt very stuck, and we would have felt very much like we were chasing our own tail or going around in circles, not getting anywhere. But we felt like we had the whole of forever to not get anywhere. Except the memo was, at best, you've got 10 months, January to October of 2025. We've navigated that period. So where we are right now is where the 2025 timeline starts to wind down. But we get a little bit wobbly because the 2026 timeline isn't solid yet. Or at least it feels like it's not solid. But the truth is, it actually is. It is solid. It is in front of you. You can step into it right now. The reason it feels hazy and misty and weird is only because you haven't yet tuned in to what's right in front of you. That describes a timeline jump. It's a frequency that would be invisible and imperceptible to you until you tune in. So at the very beginning, it's foggy and misty. And then as you go, it becomes so solid as if you were always walking that timeline. And this time, be warned, you only have, I can't even say to you 10 months. I can't do it because it's not. I was going to say you've only got 10 months to complete the year, just like we've had in 2025. The truth is, January to April of 2026, that is one big slice of the 2026 timeline. It's going to feel like its own year, January to April. April to July, it's going to feel like another year. July to August, which is just a month. Do you see how rapidly we're making these big shifts now, these big timeline jumps? And once we get to August to October, that's another slice of the timeline. And then we've got the wind down. Isn't it amazing that we need 2 months now to wind down from a timeline? Which is another way of saying to make the timeline jump. Because we got so attached to that, so used to that frequency so quickly. We became embedded in it because it held so much familiarity for us. The 2026 timeline, it is so undealt with. It is so unknown. It's so foreign. And because of that, it feels far away and not solid, but it is. The answer is for you to slow down. And isn't that just a perfect irony? That in order to speed up and catch the moving train that is the timeline, you have to slow right down. That's how you get on. The breath of stillness that breathes you into presence is the most important breath you're going to take. The most important breath of your entire life is that breath that breathes you into presence, and may every breath breathe you into more and more presence, more and more connection, more and more stillness, because that is how you navigate. Now, you don't need to feel guilty for leaving loved ones behind. And I want to explain exactly what this means, because you're not technically leaving anybody behind, but it will feel that way. It's going to feel to you like you're betraying people, maybe humanity, maybe your friends, loved ones, or family. Because why? You're not energetically going to be standing next to them, waiting with them, waiting for them to catch up. Instead, you're blazing your trail of light, which is imperative imperative, because that trail of light is exactly what others need in order to have a pathway illuminated that they can follow. Your trail of light that you're meant to blaze is waiting for you to damn well blaze that trail, not to sit down with your bum planted, waiting for everybody else to catch up and bemoaning the fact that they can't wake up the way that you have. That's not your job. That's you in limbo. The truth is that your flight forward is not you leaving them, it is you leaving them a trail so that they can follow it. And this is something you have to come to terms with. You're leaving no one behind. You're fulfilling your role. You're a timeline leader. Because for heaven's sakes, who else is going to be watching a video on Kerry K's channel on timeline jumping and the gap between realities, the space between timelines? It's going to be you, because you're a timeline leader. And that also explains why you have felt so alone and abandoned and forgotten and unaided and unsupported, because you're imagining that there should be other human beings that you can follow, because you don't realize that you're the one that other people are following, at least energetically. And that's all it takes, is for enough of us to energetically make the timeline jump in order to send the unspoken message to the collective. Oh, guys, it's safe. Oh, guys, it's okay. So here's a funny visual that I want to give you. Imagine that the timeline is almost like a travelator, actually. Since we're going with visuals, I would say that's a pretty good one. But imagine that the travelator, or the floor of the timeline, is moving and it is water-based. So you can't treat that water back. Meaning, so imagine a water-based travelator. It's like a crystalline consciousness, a liquid crystal. That's the water in the timeline. And you can't turn back. Which means that there's only two things that are viable, and that's go forward, which ultimately is actually fly forward. Because once you hit that 2026 timeline, it's going to feel like, oh my God, my feet aren't even taking steps. I'm just flying. Energetically, that's exactly what 2026 feels like. And guess what's going to happen to the control freaks among us? We're going to go, oh no, I'm out. I can't do this, but you can. And you're meant to. And this is what we're doing here in this in-between place. We're gearing up. We're figuring out what it is to not control. And I have so many energetic support structures available to you. A guided meditation, an online membership, energy activations, teachings, courses. But allow yourself now to reach out your hand, because you guys, this is how we navigate forward. It is no longer a case of I'm going to climb from rung to rung in the timeline. It's more a case now of I'm going to just jump and reach my hand out and know that my guides, my crew, my cosmic family will grab my hand. There's many of them and they're waiting for me. So isn't that kind of funny that you were sitting on your bum waiting for everybody else, but the cosmic family was waiting for you? And now, in order for you to progress, it's because you allow them to support you. So you better believe that receptivity, which is something that we've practiced, it's something that we've been aware of, and perhaps even experimented with, that feeling of allowing love in or light in. It's just that now it's more serious. It's more like you don't get to go forward unaided, unsupported. You only navigate that 2026 timeline because you let love guide you and hold you. Now, there's been so much that's been going on for all of us. Feel the pause, that is that in between. It's kind of like a healing zone, provided you don't misuse it. And you would misuse it if you try to go back into the past, which we know now is not possible. You would be misusing it if you got yourself distracted and unplugged in this place. The two options: fly forward or disengage. Disengage is hell. Disengage and disconnect, which is what we want distraction to facilitate. It's why we employ distraction, because it leads us to that disengage. This is exactly the opposite of what your soul is pulling you towards. And when you go the opposite way of your truth, it's unspeakably difficult. It creates suffering and it creates struggle. Where what we're meant to be stepping into now is potential. It's the new business or the new idea or the new diet or the new way of life, the new way of thinking. It's the new energy, the new paradigm. Whatever it is for you, it's new. That's the 2026 energy. It's what you've never stepped into before. It's the you that you didn't know existed. But imagine hovering outside of the timeline because you didn't know that it was safe. Imagine hovering outside waiting. How torturous that would be. Waiting for others to do the job that you were assigned to do, which is lead the timeline. And it's not, oh, fine, I'll lead the timeline. It's more like, yes, what a gift, what a blessing, what an honor, what a privilege to lead, because it means that I get to hold hands with my cosmic family who's been waiting for me in the same way that we've been waiting for those of so-called lower frequency. And a lot of those lower frequency people, by the way, are going to surprise the heck out of us when they catch up. Because what it takes to catch up on any timeline, it's still possible. We can still catch up. Even if you've been sleeping since forever, you can still step into the 2026 timeline. A lot of people are going to do this. And it's going to feel like, can you imagine? It's going to feel like you're out, as in unplugged, out of the timeline. It is a very difficult space to navigate because, first of all, it's separate from self, from truth, from God, from light, from everything. It's struggle fueled and struggle filled. It's draining. You feel incomplete. But imagine being unplugged and then suddenly you get swept up into the 2026 timeline. Can you imagine that feeling of forward movement? There's a lot of people that are going to be feeling that, and they need you on the 2026 pathway in order for them to go, oh, whoa, yeah, baby, I'm not alone. Oh, whoa, there's others that are here and they're human, because we need that. It's one thing to be supported by our cosmic family, but we also need to feel and experience the safety of other human beings walking the journey home with us. So the 2026 timeline, it's not only available, it is solidifying to those who can bring it into view. And the more you can slow down, get into that meditation, get into that stillness, get into that energy work. That's your pause. That's what this in-between place is for. Remember, use the in-between place in order to step into the pause, in order to rejoin that 2026 timeline, because there is no step between the two timelines. Now you understand. Now that makes sense. Now you understand this 2025 timeline was meant to conclude. The 2026 was meant to open and be far away from each other. That in-between space is exactly the healing zone that you're in right now. So breathe into it and feel the love from my heart all the way to yours. I hold you in so much love. Speak to you really soon. There's 2 videos. Which one haven't you watched? Go ahead and watch the one that calls you now. If you don't see them displayed on your screen, they're in the description box below.